A very warm welcome to WsCube Tech. So guys, in our previous session we have covered how to delete and insert data in our data frame. Today we will be talking about how to deal with the missing data. Now what happens, a lot of time you have a raw data, and inside the data which is coming from a company or coming from anywhere, we have missing values over there. Now how to deal with these missing values, because of these missing values what will happen when we will analyze it, it will create a lot of difference over there. So how to deal with these missing values, what to do with these missing values, we will be learning that in this video. Now to deal with the missing values over here, first of all we will import pandas, because obviously with the help of the pandas we will be dealing with them. So import pandas as PD, and to obtain the missing values over here we will be using numpy. So we will import numpy as well. That import numpy is np. If you remember, in the numpy we have talked about the nan values, that means not a number value. So what to do over here is that we will be creating a dictionary. Let's say I'm creating a dictionary for a school, okay, which has different marks of different students. So I'll be just creating a dictionary. So let's talk about the math marks. First of all, I'll write math in the column and I'll be giving marks over here. Let's say 67 is the student 1's marks, and then we have 89, then we have a nan value. So I'll be writing np dot nan and comma 70 is the next student's marks. Similarly, if I talk about, let's say, science, so in science we have, let's say, a list, and inside the list we have 89 and np dot nan comma 80 and 62. Similarly, we will have it for English as well, that English marks are, let's say the first marks is 67, the second marks over here is 88, the third marks over here is 99, and the fourth marks over here is np dot nan comma. Lastly, we'll be talking about French. So in French, someone has scored, let's say, 80, someone has scored, let's say, 90, and two of them's value is not available. Okay, so I'll be writing np dot nan and np dot nan. Okay, once we have created this, what we'll be doing, we'll be creating a data frame over here. So df is equals to pd dot data frame, and inside this we'll be passing school. And if I print df, let's have a look on how it looks like. So as soon as I run it, we'll get the output like this. Here we have 4 columns: math, science, English, French, and the first one is the index over here. So in math we have 67, 89, a nan value, and 70. In science we have 89, nan value, 80 and 62. Then in English we have 67, 88, 99 and a nan value here, and in French we have 80, 90, nan value and a nan value. Let's add one more nan value in this column. So let me just remove this one value and I'll be writing np dot nan here. Okay, so if I run it, one nan value is there on the top as well. I'll just later explain you why we have a nan value over here. Now how to deal with this nan value? First of all, to understand nan values, we will be using a function called as isNull over here. If you have a nan value in your data frame, in that case isNull will give you true at that exact position wherever a nan value is there. For example, all you need to do is write print df dot isNull, and as soon as we run it, we'll get the output like this. So you can see over here, wherever there is a nan value, so suppose it's here in our science second row, that is a nan value. So here we have true. In our English first and the last row we have nan values, and in French the last two are the nan values, that's why here we have true. So wherever there is a nan value, it is true, and if you want to obtain false wherever is a nan value, in that case what you can do, you can write print df dot not null and open close the parentheses. So if now I run it, the last thing that, so the last one over here, the last output that we will obtain over here will give us false every place where we have the nan value. So we have nan values over here, the last two rows of the French column. So you can see in the French column, in the last two rows we have false. In the English column, the first and the last one is false. So here we have the nan value. So if you want to obtain true in the place of nan values, you will use isNull. And if you want to obtain false in the place of nan values, in that condition you will be using not null here. This is about checking the null values. What if you want to fill some value at the null places? So for that we have a simple method here. What we can do, we can just simply write print fill print df dot fill. Fill any means not a nan numbers. So fill any, and we will be filling it them, let's say, by 100. So wherever there is, let's say a teacher decided that wherever there is no value, there should be 100 over there. And as soon as we run it, we will get the output like this, that in our new output we have 100, everywhere there was a nan value. For example, here in the math column on third number we had a nan value, so here again we have 100. In if I talk about French, in the French the last two rows were nan, so here we have obtained 100. So wherever there was a nan value we have received 100. Not just 100, you can put whatever you want. Even if I put high over here and just run it, we will obtain high as well. Wherever there is a nan value, you can see high and high over here, high as well over here. So wherever there is a nan value, you can obtain high here or whatever value you want to replace it with. So you can use fill NA, means fill NA over here means fill not a number values over here. Now for filling the values also we have different methods. For example, you can just replace it right now. But what if when you work on a statistical data, right, at that time you cannot just replace all the values with the same values. At that time what you can do, you can use the previous value, or you can use the value which is below the nan value to fill the nan value. Okay, so for that we have very simple method that what we can do with fill NA, we can write method is equals to, so we have two things over here, one is pad and one is bfill. Let's first try pad will give you the previous value. For example, let's talk about this one. So here if I go nan value over here, so previous value to it is 89, so here at the nan value 89 would come. Here also 89 is the previous value, so before nan, whatever value is there, that will come at the nan's place. Here we have 99, so at the nan's place we will get 99. Here we have 90, that's why we will get 90 over here, and because we will get 90 over here, we will get 90 over here as well. So let's run and see what output we will get. So you can see over here, we have 90, 90 and 90 in a row. Why we have 90, 90, 90? Big value that is above it, and this second nan value is filled with the value which is above it, so it is exactly 90. It's like A is equal to B and B is equal to C, so A is also equal to C. Okay, and 99 over here because we have previous value over here as 99.0, and again we have 89 over here because the previous value is 89. Here we do not have any value because there is no previous value to it, so this is why it's just nan over here. So this was the previous fill. That means if you want to fill the previous value above the nan value in that, so pad method over here is used when you want to fill the value with the previous value which is there above the nan value, and if you want to fill it with the next value, in that case you will write bfill. So now if I run it, so you will notice over here that here we had nan value and here we had 80. Okay, how we have 80? Because over here we have 80 in our next value. Here we had nan value and here we have obtained 88 because the next value is 88. Here nan value is nan because previous value is also nan, and before that whatever the value is, like the next value over here is not available, that's why this one is a nan, and because its next value is nan, that's why this one also remains nan over here. The last one also remains nan over here because there is no next value to it. And if I talk about this one, so here we have nan and here we have 70 because the next value over here is 70 here. This is how you can obtain the values by getting the previous or the next values over here. Also, if you want, you can use a single column over here. For example, you want to only fill only a math teacher decided to give, let's say, 80 marks to a person whose marks are not available. So in that case, what a person can do, in that case you can simply write df dot fill NA, and we'll be printing it definitely. So I'll just write print df dot fill NA by, let's say, 80 marks. And where do we have to fill it? Because we need to fill it in the math column. So what we'll be doing, df, and in the square bracket I'll pass math and I'll close the square bracket. Here the math should be written inside the double quotations. And now if I run it, you will notice that I will receive only one column, that is maths column, and wherever the nan value is there. So you can see nan value is here. So 67, 89, nan and 70. So here we have received 80 in the place of nan value because what we have written over here is df in the math column dot fill NA. That means in the math column fill the not a null value with 80 number over here. Okay. Another way to handle data is using the replace method over here. You can replace the nan values. You can use the replace function to replace the nan values with any value that you want to put over here. So for example, I'll be using, let's say, print df dot replace, and here I'll be passing to underscore replace. So which value needs to be replaced over here? np dot nan value needs to be replaced over here, and with which value? So value is equals to, let's say, 80. But I want to replace all the nan values with 80 over here. So what I have used the replace function. In replace function, we need to replace nan values with the value 80 here. And if I run it, I'll get the output like this, that wherever there is a nan value, we will receive 80. So it is doing the same thing as fill NA, but only the method is different over here. That here we were using df dot fill NA, and we can just write the values directly. But here what we are doing, we are replacing the NaN values with the value that we have provided over here. So you can use the replace function or fill NA, whatever is your choice. But there are, yes, different methods to do it. Similarly, there is another method with which we can deal with the missing data, that is called as interpolate. How does interpolate works? Interpolate creates a number over there which is equal to the somewhere between the previous data and next data. So interpolate is the best method to deal with the missing values. So what does interpolate do? Let's understand in a simple way that if you have a missing data over here and above that you have any data and below that also you have any data. So what interpolate will do? It will give you a number in between of both those data at the place of that NaN value. So let's have a look on how interpolate works over here. So I'll be writing print df dot interpolate. So in interpolate we will be using the method is equals to linear, and there are two ways by which we can do it. We can get the backward data and the forward data. That means we have over here as limit direction. That limit direction is coming from backward, that means from downwards, or from forward, that means from the upward. Okay. So here I'll be writing, first of all, the default value over here is forward. So I'll be writing forward here, and as soon as we run it, we'll get the output something like this, that it has been filled with any value in between. So between 80 and 89, the middle value is 84.5. And if I talk about this one, so there is no value because previous to this, there is no value over here. Okay. Then if I talk about this one has 90 over here. The previous value is 90. So 90 is coming here, and next value again 90 is coming here. If I talk about this one, so between 89 to 70, the number in between would be 79.5. That means, but how it goes in a forward direction. Now, if I talk about the backward direction, if I want to go backward direction, in that case, I'll be just writing backward here. And as soon as we run it, now here we have backward direction. So we will not receive these three values because we are going from bottom to top over here. Okay. And if in case in this one we have received the same value here, and because we are going backward to forward and there is no next value, so it will just exactly write this value over here. Okay, so this is how interpolate method works. So basically interpolate method is the best method to deal with the missing data over here, because it gives you basically a number that is between the previous value and the next value, which if we talk about in statistical data, it would be more appropriate to use. So once we have dealt with the missing data, so these are some methods with which we can deal with the missing data. Or there is one more method that you can delete the missing data only. So wherever there is a missing data, you can just drop that column. So suppose let's say I'll just use this one and write 89 here, and one more, let's take one more column over here where we have no NaN values. So I'll just make this one as 90, and the English teacher is very happy and giving everyone a good mark. So 95 here, and now if I run it, I'll get a data frame which looks like this. Now what do I need to do? I need to drop wherever there is a NaN value here. I just need to drop those columns. For example, science will be dropped, French will be dropped. To drop it, what we will be doing, we will be simply writing print df dot drop NA, open close the parentheses, and now as soon as we run it, we'll only get this over here. So we will be getting only one line, that is 67, 89, English 90 and French 80 over here. That means only one row will be obtained over here. So basically the columns have not been dropped, but a row has been dropped in which there was no NaN value. So you can basically drop row instead of a column by using the drop NA. So I hope guys that this is clear that how we have dealt with the missing data. We first talked about the not null value over here. That means wherever you have a NaN value, and if you want it true in place of that not null value, we will be using a not null method over here. Then we have is null method over here, which will give us the false. After that, we have talked about fill NA, that if you want to replace the NaN values with any value over here, you can use the fill NA method that will replace the NaN value with any value. Let it be a string, let it be an integer or a floating number also over here. If you want to remove the NaN values from a column, we can use df, and in the square bracket, you can pass the name of that column. After that, we have a replace method where you can replace the NaN values with any value that you can provide. And lastly, we have talked about the interpolate method where we can give the NaN values the value which is in between of the previous data and in the next data. So I hope guys that all the methods over here are clear to you. In our next session, we will be talking about the group by method. So stay connected guys, and I'll see you in the next session. Thank you.